welcome to the Mindful Dose podcast, YouTube channel, wherever it is that you're watching this episode. This is a Lunar Talk segment, and I'm so excited to get into this one. It's a full moon in Sagittarius. It's the first full moon with Uranus in its opposition under this Gemini-Sagittarius axis, so there is a lot to go over. It's the first of many that are to come. First, like full moon with Uranus in Gemini that are to come, and this is like a checkpoint, a progress point. And being that Uranus just got into Gemini, it's like the first opportunity for us to really look at the path ahead and prepare ourselves for that exciting revolutionary journey that Uranus is going to bring through this through the Gemini zodiac. Before we dive in, I want to introduce myself. My name is Adriana. I am a self-taught astrologer for like many years, but right now I am going through a certificate program for traditional astrology. I do tend to bring up some of the outer planets just to mention them if they're pretty, prominent. But I don't go deep into that during these lunar talks because I just want to keep it kind of basic. I'm hoping to help you as a beginner or an intermediate practitioner to familiarize yourself with the cosmic language, but also to apply these practices in a rhythm that feels consistent. So new moons and full moons happen every 2 weeks. It's a great way for us to practice astrology together. All right, so with that being said, let me share the chart. Okay, so here we have the full moon chart. We have the sun over here and the moon over there. Both are at 9 degrees, 9 degrees. The full moon is in Sagittarius, and there's no other players involved in the Sagittarius segment. However, over here where the sun is, we have Uranus and we have Mercury. Mercury, I want to talk about really quickly, is in its domicile. Mercury is ruled by Gemini, so when a planet is in its domicile, it means that it's at home. It's at the zodiac sign where it was meant to be. So Mercury is at home. And Uranus is one of the outer planets, so it's not part of the traditional astrology, but it's worth mentioning that Uranus just entered Gemini only a few weeks ago. And Uranus is going to spend 7 years in the Gemini sign. Uranus is about revolution and changes and surprises. It brings in the unexpected information. And one of my favorite ways of just implanting the meaning of Uranus is by looking at the symbol. So if you see on the edges, there's this like closed parentheses and open parentheses, right? Like that. And in the center, there's a line that connects the two. But you'll also see that there is a line that kind of interjects that horizontal line, a vertical line with a little circle at the very bottom. It's almost like this circle wants to butt its way between these two parentheses. So Uranus is like that. It likes to butt its way into the changes, into our routine in order to bring change. So if you ever get confused, just look at the symbol and just like let that symbol speak to you. It's this energy that wants to come in and separate in order to like make space for something new. So with this being in an air sign that's mutable, the energy for change will be accommodating. It's not always fun, especially for a 7-year process during, in this zodiac sign. It can be annoying at its worst, but it can also be properly configured, meaning it can actually work properly. The last 7 years, Uranus has been in Taurus over here, and Taurus does not like anything, does not like change. And the way to kind of visualize that is if you ever owned a plant and you've needed to take that plant out and put it in a bigger pot with more soil and more space for it to grow, the plant does not like that. And you will notice that that plant in its new pot may need a couple of days, maybe even weeks to adjust to its new pot. And it'll look sad, the leaves will be droopy. You'll just know that something is different about it until it finally acclimates to its new environment. So Taurus does not like the feeling of change. And so the last 7 years, we've kind of dealt with that type of vibe in the background. But now it's in Gemini, and Gemini is quick to change, and not change because like it wants to start something new to leave something behind. It's really quick to absorb information, and it's okay with things changing and adjusting. It's mentally equipped for that. It's ruled by Mercury. So Mercury, just think about, in yoga, we call our minds sometimes a monkey mind. It just swings from thought to thought. And sometimes that can be overwhelming. So that's where the practice of meditation comes in, to just settle that monkey mind and just rest on one thought, or allow for the space between each thought. And I think that Uranus is going to do much better in Gemini than it has been doing in Taurus. So just know that that energy is in the background. Under this lunation, this full moon in Sagittarius, Mercury will be here. And so elements of communication, technology, and travel will be a major theme during this lunation for us. It is a checkpoint, like I said. It's a checkpoint to just see how we're using technology. Perhaps you may be inclined to let go of certain applications that no longer serve you. For example, if you were in high school like 20 years ago, or like 15 or something years ago, where Instagram was born, and now Instagram is just a completely different type of application, you may want to let that go and try an application that supports you in this new headspace that you're at. So it's about acknowledging the growth in our mind and leaning into a new path of communication. That's my intuition as I read the chart. But also not just applications and communication methods, but also the forms of travel. You may be open to finding a new way of traveling, like a new car or a bike or a train or a bus. So those are just some things that I think will bring a spotlight during this lunation. We may be encouraged to look at just the ways that we connect and expand ourselves through the mental capacity, or even just through forms of transportation. With Mercury being here so far away from the lunation, it might just be more of like something that is within reach, but like within arm's reach. I think this lunation will be more rested on just the mental changes that we have faced, and being open and prepared to continue that evolution within our minds. So we looked at the sun, and we looked at the sun's ruler, which is Mercury. It's right here in its domicile, so it's involved with the lunation and supports the Gemini portion of our charts. Sagittarius over here, where the full moon is going to happen. Again, there are no planets here, but it is making an aspect. It's applying to Saturn in Aries. And that is going to support, so let's expand this a little bit more. It's two fire signs. The fire sign that the moon is in is making an understanding connection to Saturn and Aries. Saturn and Aries, not so good. Saturn is about strict timelines, restrictions, and like tight configurations, where as Aries likes to just go here, go there, and just be impulsive and just go, let's try something new. It's the first zodiac sign, so it has no rules to abide by. but Saturn is about the rules. And so we may emotionally feel impulsive during this lunation as well. So going back to that example, if you wanted to like drop an application and start something new, don't go cold turkey just yet. Take baby steps into the new path. Reach, like give things like an appetizer experience. Give it a try before you commit to the full course and dessert option with the expansion and extending yourself mentally and energetically. The Saturn the Saturn placement is making an aspect to Venus. So it's tying in a little bit of Venus themes. And just a few days before, we had a Saturn and Venus square. Yes. So the lunation is happening Sunday. On Thursday, before that Sunday, Saturn and Venus were making a square aspect. And that's noted in my Substack, and I'll link it below so that you can read about it. It's now lessening, but it's still within 2 degrees of each other. So there's still this like another emphasis on a checkpoint. That's what I had referred to it in the Substack. It's a checkpoint because it's the first Venus square to Saturn in Aries. Saturn in Aries will be there for the next 2 years, and there are other zodiac signs where Venus will begin to make a square aspect to Saturn in Aries. So it's the first one. And with Jupiter here, which Jupiter is ruled by the moon, so this is more, this all connects to the full moon happening in Sagittarius. This is more of an emphasis on a checkpoint on this journey that we're on with Saturn in Aries. So we're all feeling this Saturn in Aries restriction in a different way, wherever Aries is in our chart. And that journey is not the immediate storyline with this lunation, but it's the storyline just behind it. And the storyline is a supportive structural one that we will ride on for the next 2 years. So this first checkpoint is a good one to look at and visualize the place that we'll be in 6 months from now when the new moon in Sagittarius happens. Because when the new moon comes around, it will be reflective of the actions that we have taken here now during the full moon. And the full moon is about releasing. So this checkpoint is about just kind of taking off that dead weight, whatever is weighing us down during this travel period. With Mercury here and with the sun, there is, like I said, an element of travel, whether it's like physically by means of transportation, or that mental traveling, like, expanding yourself through the mental sphere, learning something new, or, connecting with somebody, communicating and extending your thoughts out into the ether. So it's really, I feel like this sounds like a really complex and layered lunation, and it kind of is, but just know that it's meant to kind of be, like it's something we have to face. We have to think about these longer term things at some point, and this lunation is supportive of thinking about those long-term goals and thinking about how we want to access that part of our minds that can support that journey. So I feel like Saturn is a big player involved. Venus is as well, and Venus is co-present with the ruler of the moon, and the ruler of the sun is co-present with the ruler of the sun. So it's everything just is like the conversation involves almost all the planets except for Mars. Let's see if Mars is not making an aspect to anybody. Mars is just like taking a break on the sidelines. So all the planets are involved in this lunation. And it's going to feel like everything is kind of moving in the air. And I feel like I should just draw a card. Like in my mind, I'm thinking of the Seven of Wands, but I'm curious to see what will actually pop up. Okay. So 2 cards just popped up before I could even shuffle the full deck. And we have the Strength card. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. We have the Strength card. And we have the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like this is a great balance, because that while we can visibly see that there's activity going on besides the sun in Gemini and nothing going on from what we see in the Sagittarius sector, like I said, the aspects that the moon is making to Saturn, Saturn making to other places in the chart, equally on both ends from the sun and the moon, there is a lot going on. So with the Strength card, I'm relating this to the sun side. And the Knight of Pentacles, I'm relating this to the moon side. So mentally, we should be practicing things like meditation or grounding ourselves, because with Uranus and Gemini, it could also bring us like an overload or too much in our mental sphere. So just make sure you have grounding practices for your mind. Go out for a walk if you work from home, you know, get some fresh air, change your perspective, close your eyes and let your eyes rest from like looking at a screen. That's one example. You know, like just find those practices that bring you strength again, because you can get depleted with too much mental activity if you're not resting and recharging that. With the Knight of Pentacles, what I am drawn to is like the darkness of the horse and the knight that is on the horse. And the darkness is more of like that yin energy, that restful energy, which the moon promotes and supports. And with the moon being in a fire sign that is also mutable, for me, it feels like giving yourself like an inner spa day. So like over here, set your bathroom up with like a bath. And if you don't have a bath, set it up with like a dollar facial that you can get at Target. And then over here, like have your favorite takeout ready from like the Indian spot or the Chinese spot. Like get something that is outside of your ordinary, you know, cuisine, and finding the gratitude and the appreciation and the support for the journey that you're on. Okay, because we have a knight here who's ready to take that journey, to take that trip. And we have this lion who is fearless. You know, with the Strength card being part of the new moon, I feel like it's like a major chapter. Again, going back to the major checkpoint that we have. It's these first aspects that are being made to the new placements of these outer planets and these slower moving planets. These first aspects are the first opportunities we have to really assess what's going on, where we're at, and to know where we're going, we have to know where we're starting. And yeah, so this Lunar Talks, it's a very short one. I feel like generally, like it's a lot of information for me to even process to then bring to you, and it can be a lot of information to experience during the lunation. So the Strength card just further emphasizes that self-care practice, and the Knight of Pentacles is just that like inner armor and inner strength to support yourself through these journeys. And yeah, if you are wondering where the Saturn and Aries sector of your chart is, or any of these like major placements like Uranus and Gemini, I am doing consultation readings, and you can find the link below. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm wishing you all the best during this lunation, and I'll see you guys next time.